Thank you for listening to the Business Blast podcast. So for all my listeners out there that have been wanting to do your own podcast, I'd like to introduce to you Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing, and monetizing your podcast. So before I found Anchor, I had never actually done a podcast because all the research that I had gathered made it seem very complex. Then I found Anchor, and Anchor makes podcasting extremely simple. So if you want to do your own podcast, go to anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner, and today I have Richard Bronson with us. He's the founder and CEO of 70 Million Jobs. So welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, Tyler.
Of course. Grateful to have you here. We'll dive into the first one. The first question I have for you, Richard, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Tyler, I used to be rich. I worked on Wall Street. I made a great deal of money. And then I got in trouble and I went to prison. And I ended up finding myself one day scrubbing toilets for 100 men. And thoughts of humility were washed over me. The best lesson I possibly could have learned from the whole experience was the lesson of humility.
And what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that's within your expertise or industry?
The people we work with are people who have criminal records. And what people don't know is how loyal these folks are when they're given a second chance. That's what employers find out when they hire them. They reward their employers with loyalty. They perform well and they stick around for a long time.
And what is your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
In general, I would tell people to dare to think big, take chances, make mistakes, just go for it. The difference between wildly successful people and those who aren't, or the wildly successful ones really took a chance.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
That's easy. Have patience and have faith in the universe.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm still looking for it.
And what is the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
The best book I've read, and I know it's the best because I've reread it a number of times, is a book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. It was a very, very spiritual book, and it was also a fantastic book, and it reminded me of the magic of the universe.
That is an absolutely incredible book, and anybody listening, I definitely recommend it as well. And what is your favorite quote and why?
The one that has served me throughout my long life is an old Yiddish expression that goes like, "We plan, God laughs." Whenever I've ever tried to figure out what to do with my life or where I was going, it never turned out that way. And it always ends up taking a strange route. So my planning never has really amounted to much.
I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where is the best place for people to find you online?
Well, our website is 70millionjobs.com, the number 70. And my email, because I love hearing from people, is richard@70millionjobs.com.
Perfect, man. Thanks again for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Tyler. Take care.